K-Nice, uielewe. Katiba nawe, jenga nchi yako.
Welcome back to KTN Sunrise Live, and if you've had that song, Ni Wakati wa Kujinais with K-Nice, that's exactly what we're talking about. This segment on KTN, which will be coming to you this and every Tuesday, is just going to be on civic education, making sure that you understand what's in your constitution so that you're better informed to make decisions regarding even the leaders that you're going to elect. So perhaps that's where we should pick it up from. And perhaps maybe you should tell us the importance, how important it is for people to be well informed as we approach the elections.
It's really very, very, very important because we only have elections after every 5 years. So the decisions we make next year are going to affect us in the next 5 years and even beyond. Because some of the policies that are set by government are even 10, 50 years. So when you put somebody to be in charge of your affairs, by electing them, you must seriously think about your future. Because the decisions they make in terms of the economy, in terms of health, in terms of education, will determine many, many years of your life. So it's important that Kenyans are empowered in terms of understanding what does the Constitution say about the responsibilities of the various people we elect, and then how again do we participate in the governance process. Not only in terms of electing the right people, but even when they are elected, how do we hold them accountable? How do we ensure that they reflect the choices we make, the choices we want in life? The understanding of democracy is that you elect somebody who reflects what you believe in life. Unfortunately, that has not been the practice in Kenya. Mm-hmm. The practice has been you elect somebody because he comes from your tribe, or because he has given you some little money, without remembering that if somebody actually put the proper policies, you would be able to get education for your children, you'd be able to get a job for your children, you'd be able to improve your economic status, you'd be able to buy that house which you can't currently afford, because the policies will be enabling for you. So those are the things we want to empower Kenyans with. In terms of understanding how government works and how the electoral process works, the various responsibilities of leaders, the various responsibilities of the voters themselves, and very, very many things that they need to know to be good citizens.
Right. I like what you've said, the responsibility of the voters. And Otieno, perhaps you can tell us if you have seen in your experience a change in the electorate and the kind of people they vote for once they are informed.
The jury is still out there on that, Edith. But we hope that, especially with the efforts that we are putting in place through K-Nice, that will be able, and others, that will be able to see a change of attitude, perhaps, that as we approach the critical elections in March 4th next year, that Kenyans will be sufficiently educated to interact with the electoral process in a manner that reflects the kind of country they want to see in the future. That hasn't been the reality. If we look at the post-election of 2007, the same DNA of electing our leaders through ethnic lenses or through whipped up party emotional platform are still obtained. And I think based on the lessons of 2007, we want to move Kenyans to a next level where they can now begin to consider engaging in the electoral process from principled and informed position. And that's why we want this phase of civic education between now and December to really focus on hammering into Kenyans the need for them to engage in this process from an informed perspective and not from the traditional, narrow, ethnic or political or partisan lenses.
Okay. I was looking at the curriculum for the K-Nice program, and I was seeing that it's been divided into different segments, different sessions. Does this mean then that these representatives that you have put in place to come and educate the people will have to go back to the grassroots over and over again to ensure that everything is covered? Or can one person come and sit and in one session they're educated?
It's actually a series of initiatives. What we are expecting is that the Kenyan citizen will participate in various fora that will educate him or her. We have put the civic education into themes. So for instance, there is a theme on Bill of Rights, where one is supposed to know about issues on marriage, issues on freedom of expression, access to information, issues on their rights not to be arrested without due cause. All those issues are under the Bill of Rights. We also have a theme on land and land management. We know Kenyans want to know about how they can be able to access the land and how they can protect the security of their land. We also have a theme on the devolved government, devolution, how that will work. We have a theme on public service, how the public service will work. So through these thematic areas, we expect to give more information through a series of programs. Because, for instance, if you look at our radio programs, we intend to carry a minimum of 8 programs. So in those programs, you'll find maybe the issue of land has been discussed in 1 or 2 programs, and where you are able to interact with the speaker, asking them, you know, last week you explained on this, but I still have not understood this other area, and all that. As we indicated, there are many channels of civic education. So you are getting it from the radio, you are getting it from the TV, you're also getting it face-to-face with the people at the grassroots. So you may find you are probably not able to attend the grassroots one, but you're able to watch TV, or you're able to listen to radio. And you then say, for me, I'll get my civic education from the radio. So I will follow all the programs. So what we are doing is we are getting speakers, say a speaker on land, and we will take the land chapter and take people through that. Then another speaker will come on devolution, you take people on that. Another one will come on elections and representation, and you take people on that. So we are using different methods and different forums to ensure that the opportunity to be reached is maximized through the various ways. Again, you may not be able to reach any of all those, but you may be able to go to our website, and you're able to ask the question and you get your response. You're able to download our materials, and you're able to follow us on Twitter, you know, and out of that you're able to interact with us on several fronts.
Okay, but for the people who are following this on TV or on radio and can't access the materials and want something to go home with that they can look over to remind themselves, how do they get this?
Well, they could get it from the website, for one, because Edith will appreciate that mobile telephony has changed and revolutionized our life. Anybody with any phone now can access internet and almost can download information. So we are hoping to especially engage mobile telephony technology so that people are able to access this information, which is very important. We also have these materials at the Ministry of Justice, which is located at Coop Bank building along Elisilasi Avenue on the 8th and 9th floor. If they come there, they can be able to get the materials. Our materials are also available to our partners that we are collaborating with, the 95 that I mentioned that we are actively engaging with, so they can also access this material and information from there. But the most effective, timely one would obviously be through the internet, which they can access through their phones.
Okay. Yes. Mr. PSA, the one who spoke about vernacular stations on the FM stations, but these materials are obviously going to be in either English or Swahili. Is there any chance whatsoever that they can get it in their mother tongue?
Later in the second phase, but in the first phase we are not using vernacular materials. We are only explaining through vernacular, and we think that's sufficient for the time being. Also, in our country now, most people actually are able to access the Swahili materials.
Yeah.
And those will be able to provide the Swahili versions.
Okay.
But the vernacular will take a bit of time because of translation and everything. And also we have to assess the numbers that can use vernacular.
Okay.
So we are not as of now going straight into vernacular translations.
Fine. And one of the last questions from my end before we go into the SMSs, we did mention that this is a very long-term project, and obviously there's going to be another government that's going to come into place. Are there structures which have been put in place to ensure that this program is inherited smoothly?
That will be the peers to comment.
Yes, there are structures. Actually, for the very first time, civic education has been put into law. So it is actually provided for in the County Governments Act, which was passed by Parliament last year. And under the County Governments Act, the responsibility for continuing civic education is given to the devolved governments, the county governments. But the responsibility for creating capacity for those county governments to carry out civic education is given to the Ministry of Justice and the Ministry of Local Government. So those ministries, whatever they would be called after the elections, because they could change their name, the ministries that will be responsible for justice, or the ministries that will be responsible for devolved government, will be responsible for creating a uniform curriculum and ensuring the standards of civic education are monitored across all counties, and also ensuring there is enough provision for civic education in all the counties.
All right. Let's get to the SMSs now. Hello, I got some voter education material from IEBC. I'm working on this and would like to share this with people. Is this possible? I have been doing this with non-governmental organizations. There's obviously people who are already interested. They're getting this education and they want to share it. Do you have a way that that can work?
Yes, they can get in touch with us through the website. That's one way of getting in touch, so that we can interact more, get to know who the person is and what kind of organization organization that is offering civic education. And from there we gauge how we can partner with them to support the work that they're doing. I think it's fundamental that I mentioned this, Edith, that the organizations we are collaborating with traditionally offer civic education. What government is doing is coming to partner with them to continue doing that which they do best, which is offering that service. And so we come in, give them materials where we're able to give limited financial support, able to do that. So those organizations that may be outside the 95 bracket can still work with us, and they can still get in touch with us with the website, and we can very easily interact with them and also offer the materials online, because it's critical that this civic education is done in a very expanded and aggressive manner, especially given the elections that await us in March 2013.
Okay. Okero has dealt with the organizations. What of individuals who feel that they are sufficiently informed and would like to join the bandwagon?
I think we are able to, as he indicated, partner with them. What's important is to understand that we did advertise for people who were willing to partner with us in what we call an expression of interest in the newspapers. And out of that, we received over 200 applications. It's out of that we reduced to 95. We had also advertised before, and we had received over 100 applications by different organizations, which again we reduced to about 73 and contracted about 36. So the opportunity is there to engage. We will be doing another call for expression of interest later. So again, they may also apply again, and we look at their capacity, and if they are competitive enough, we'll engage them. At the individual level, on a voluntary basis, again, we are encouraging every Kenyan to know that this is their country, and they have the responsibility to improve it in whichever way. One of the things we'd want to see more in Kenya, which we are not seeing, which happens in other countries, is people volunteering to do things that can benefit their country. Yeah, so we encourage everybody to join us to participate in this.
Another question, actually, this is on a congratulatory note. Hey, good work by K-Nice. I attended a workshop organized by El Monjo Peace Ambassadors in Nakuru County, and it was informative, especially on Bill of Rights. Kudos, that's Modhoni. So obviously this is sparking interest in some areas, but how do you get people who could honestly care less about the Constitution, who are not bothered about such affairs, to go out there and learn and be interested?
I think we excite and call for the appetite in this very important civic education initiative by making them understand where the country is coming from and where the country wants to go to. You cannot effectively participate in the governance of your country if you are going to disengage. We all voted, most of us voted for this new constitution that promises radical transformation in the way government operates, the way we interact with government, the way institutions of government account to us as a citizen. You really just have to engage. So we use media, popular media, FM stations, we use the internet to tell them, good people, we are out there. This is for you, this is for your country. Plug in, tap all this knowledge and information from the experts that the peers have mentioned, from the opportunities that we've mentioned, so that you can effectively participate in the governance of this country. And that's the best we could do. And we are hoping that as many Kenyans get to engage and not to disengage.
Okay.
Also, we are trying to make it exciting. Kenyans hate boring things. So you're trying to make it exciting by using
I think everyone hates
the popular,
yeah.
the popular broadcasters, popular people, even at the grassroots level. And we are encouraging the organizations that we are working with to make these processes as interesting as possible, particularly for the younger citizens. We are going to make our website as interesting as possible. If you look at the materials also, they are very friendly in terms of cartoons, in terms of simple tables that make you understand the process, so that people are not intimidated. There is always the fear that the materials are in legal language.
Yes.
People fear lawyers, seriously. So they are not in legal language. They are actually in simple day-to-day language. And once you engage, you'll find it's something that you can easily understand.
You've actually preempted me. There's a question here on how do I ensure that I understand everything, because a lot of the stuff is complicated.
It's just a fear. Actually, I would ask the person to just look at what we have. It's actually not complicated. That's why, for instance, we want it to be brought out in mother tongue, so that the complex ideas would have to be simplified for them to be communicated in mother tongue. So we are very concerned about that.
Okay. And as we wind up, there's another question about the institutions. It seems to be a very popular question. Are you also working with International Republican Institute or IRI? Because we were trained civic education by them in Mombasa. I don't suppose we could list all 95 institutions.
Yes, we are actually partnering with IRI. I've made contacts with their program manager in the country. We've given them copies of our constitution, which they requested for. I'm aware about that workshop that took place in Mombasa. IRI will be launching their civic education curriculum, I think, on the 2nd of November. So we are trying to partner with as many actors. The principle is any actor offering civic education who needs our participation, who needs our materials, which are very good materials, we will, to the extent possible, partner with them and cheer them on as they do the civic education work.
Congratulations, K-Nice. You have supported us and urge you to continue with your support, because Kenyans need to know more of their rights. That's Zainab Chizuga from Moyo in Kwale. I really did not pronounce that the way it's supposed to be.
We partnered with Maendeleo Wanawake. She coordinates civic education in Kwale County.
All right.
And we've worked with her, and we've seen the good work that our partners are doing in the counties out there.
Zainab, we hear you loud and clear. Thank you so much for writing to us this morning. There's also someone who's asking, who do I get in touch with on Twitter if I have questions?
You tweet at KNICE Kenya. That's our tweet handle.
Is it KNICE with a space or just KNICE?
Just KNICE,
Okay.
no space. At KNICE Kenya.
At KNICE Kenya.
KNICE Kenya. Just tweet and there will be somebody who will answer you on time.
Okay.
24/7.
I do have to ask though, because social media, in as much as it is a fantastic platform for reaching people, it can also be very hostile. Have you trained the people who are supposed to be conducting the civic education to deal with certain things?
Oh yes, they are all professionals in communication. So they are aware of sensitivities. They are aware of the kind of information that needs to be accessed. So I would say that we are prepared for that.
Okay.
And we are quite open in terms of you can ask anything. We are not restrictive.
But what if they start asking, because I've seen some questions here on what is the future of of provincial administration, something to do with justice and selective justice, matters that are not necessarily in the constitution but affect Kenyans' day-to-day lives. How do they do that?
That's actually what we want them to ask.
Okay.
Civic education is not some, I don't know, sanitized information. It's information where we respond to anything that you want to know about governance. And we connect that to the Constitution. For instance, there is no problem in asking about police reforms because that's what the Constitution is about. There may be things that people are unhappy about police, but what they need to understand is that is why police is being reformed.
Yeah.
And they need to then participate in the reform of the police. We are, for instance, right now recruiting the police commissioner. So they need to participate in that because it's going to be a public process. Where even people are vetted. Yeah, so it is up to them as citizens to come out and actually participate in the governance process and ask any question, and we respond to it.
All right. Thank you, KTN, for airing this program. Could you please put it on the website? I'm not sure if they mean our website or your website, but it's an interesting thing. Are you able to load some of these interviews that you do, the radio station sessions that you have?
Yes, we are able to upload, so they'll be able, as soon as KTN gives us a clip of this recording, we'll be able to upload it in our website and they'll be able to access it.
Okay.
The earlier versions are already on the website.
Oh, all right. Still on vernacular, I do have to ask, because obviously not everyone is an expert, how do you make sure that the people are sticking to what they have been mandated to do and they are giving out the correct information?
We actually have a monitoring inbuilt system in KNICE, both for the grassroots forums and also for the FM stations. Contrary to the perception that it's only FM stations that give maybe hate speech and information that can incite, it's all media, you know. So we are monitoring that, and all our resource persons have a curriculum which they are following, and also the selection is very thorough, so that it's only responsible people who are on air.
Okay.
We also prepare frequently asked questions. So before any of our resource person goes on studio, he or she is given frequently asked questions, which has come from the Mwananchi himself and herself. We also give this to the presenter so that they stick largely to the script. Not to say they can't ask, publics can't ask any question outside what we are discussing. Let's say if it's devolution, they could still ask the question. But all our presenters are experts, they are well trained, they are well briefed. We've also had a briefing with all the presenters of all the TV station and FM stations that we'll be working with, so that it is a standardized and uniform, and nobody operates outside the script, as it were.
Okay.
Yeah.
I can confirm that the briefing does indeed happen because I got it.
Maybe just to add that also it's important to recognize that although we are talking about elections, KNICE is not partisan. It is not political at all. It does not support any candidate. It does not support any party. So when we give information, we are giving information on what the laws are saying, on what the Constitution says, and what best practices around the world are for governance.
All right, thank you for adding that. I think that's a very important point. And I think that is where we will conclude this edition of our civic education, this morning. We do appreciate your comments and your feedback. 8040 continues to be our number. Remember, you can keep sending in the SMSs. We'll just gather them, and next week we'll just pick up from where we left off. Thank you so much, Mr. PS, Mr. Otieno, for coming into studio this morning. Remember, this and every Tuesday, and every Tuesday after this from 7 to 8, we'll be dealing with civic education. The government is spending money to make sure that you're informed, so please ask the questions if need be. And at KNICE Kenya, that's the Twitter handle, at KNICE Kenya. If you have any questions, we can pick them from there. Thank you so much for your time. I'm Edith Kimani. Do have yourselves a splendid day.
Inakufafanulia katiba na kujenga nchi yako. Ni wakati wa kujinice na KNICE, uielewe katiba na kujenga nchi yako.